Hello, I'm Stephanie Wilson. So let's talk about converting between units. And when we get started, I do want you to be able to do the math without a calculator, but sometimes you're going to need one. So I got this basic calculator. You see it's got the plus, minus, multiply, divide, and then a square root. That's all you need. And that's all. That's the only kind of calculator if you don't already have one. So you can have this handy while we're doing it. At this point of the course, you may not have the conversion sheet completely memorized. So if you need to have the conversion sheet out while you're doing basic conversions, um, have it out. So that way you can just make sure that you know which is which and highlight the ones you tend to forget. That way you can memorize them. So let's get started. This first example on this page on the left-hand side said convert 0.3 milligrams to micrograms. So this is what, let me get my pen out. Let me get it working. This is what it's asking us to start with, and this is what we're converting to. All right, so what I'm going to do is I will go to the conversion sheet and I'm going to say, okay, what do I know about the relationship between milligrams and micrograms? Well, I know for every 1 milligram, it's 1,000 micrograms. Okay, so now let's get started. So I'm going to get started by using what's given, which is 0.3 milligrams. And whatever I divide by is going to be out of this here that we know is going to be the part that has the same unit here because we want the units to reduce with each other, reduce down. We want them to go away. So that means I will divide by, let me change this pen a little bit. I'm going to divide by that 1 milligrams. And then I'm going to multiply by the 1,000 micrograms. So when I do this, I see that the milligram reduces with itself, goes into itself one times, right? And then 1 times 0.3 is just 0.3. So I reduced it down. Now I got 0.3 times 1,000 micrograms. Kind of rough paper. You could put it over 1 because that's what's down in the denominator, but our final answer cannot be over 1. So if you're that person that needs it over 1, then that's fine, but just make sure your final answer is not over 1. And then we multiply, or we could say, oh, there's 3 zeros. I'm going to move the decimal 3 places to the right. And that gives me 300 micrograms. Okay. So now let's do our next one. Our next one says 2.5 grams to how many milligrams? Well, again, we need to know the relationship between grams and milligrams. Well, I know that, let me do this. I know that there is 1 gram, or in 1 gram, there is 1,000 milligrams. I know this. Well, let's come back over here. What do we have? We have 2.5 grams, and I'm going to divide by whichever one of these that we know has the gram on it, which in this case is 1 gram. So that's what I'm going to divide by. Then I'm going to multiply it by the other part. So now we got our grams to reduce down to 1. That's what we want. Now it leaves me 2.5 times 1,000 milligrams, which gives me, when I multiply this out, we're going to move the decimal 1, 2, 3. Gives me 2,500 milligrams. And you could put a comma in between the 2 and 5 since it is more than 1,000. So now let's work on our next one. Our next one says, okay, we have 0.15 kilograms. I want to go to grams. So let's state our relationship. And then again, if you don't already know it by memory, you can pull up this chart. So we got 1 kilogram is equivalent to 1,000 milligrams, or excuse me, grams, not milligrams, grams. So now that I know this, I'm going to come over here and set up what's given to us. And I'm going to divide by the part that has the same unit, and it's kilograms. So I'm going to divide by this part that has the kilograms. And then I'm going to multiply by that 1,000 grams. Kilograms reduced, that's what we wanted. And then it leaves me 0.5 times 1,000. That means we're just gonna move the decimal two place, or excuse me, there's 3 zeros in 1,000, right? So we're gonna move it 1, 2, 3, which is 150 grams. So it should be, the circles are possible. All right. Our next one says we have 0.04 liters and we're going to milliliters, right? So our relationship between liters and milliliters, there's for every 1 liter, it's 1,000 milliliters. So now I'm going to take that 0.04 liters and I'm going to divide by the part we know that has the same unit, and that is liters. So we're going to divide by 1 liter times that 1,000 milliliters. Again, we're going to grab this decimal 1, 2, 3, so it's 40 milliliters. Now let's go to our next one. Our next one says 5,000 milliliters divided by, or sorry, I kind of get carried away. The next one says 5,000 milliliters, and we want to know how many liters that is. So we're going to use the same relationship right here. I'm going to take that 5,000 milliliters. I need to divide by this part here that has the same unit, which is milliliters. So that means I'm dividing by 1,000 milliliters. And then I'll multiply it by liter. My milliliters reduced. That's what we wanted. And now I got 5,000 divided by 1,000, so it's 5 liters. I hope you get the concept. I want to do as many of these as I can. I just don't want to be on the video too long because I know that, you know, a long video is hard to keep up with. So let's wrap this one up. We have 500 micrograms, and I want to know how many milligrams that's going to be. So we got to get our relationship. We got 1 milligram is equal to 1,000 micrograms. Okay, so now let's set it up. This is what we are given. And let's come over here and pick the part of what we know that has the same unit. Well, here's our microgram, so that's the part we need to divide by. We're going to times it by 1 milligram. And if you notice, our micrograms reduced. That's what we wanted. We got 500 divided by 1,000, which is a half milligrams, which we write it as 0.5 milligrams. All right. Now we have 20 milligrams and we want it to go to grams. We want it to convert to that. We've done one earlier, I believe. Yes, right up here. So we know our relationship between grams and milligrams. For every 1 gram, it's 1,000 milligrams. So I'm going to take the 20 milligrams and I'm going to divide it by the part we know that has the same unit, which is the 1,000 milligrams, times it by the 1 gram. Our milligrams reduced. That's what we want. Now I got 20 divided by 1,000. It's going to give me grams. So 20 divided by 1,000 is going to be 0. Because we're going to move the decimal here. Let me change the color. We're going to grab the decimal and move it 2 places, or excuse me, there's 3 zeros in 1,000. So we're going to move it 3 places to the left. 1, 2, 3. So it's 0.02 grams. I like that. Thank you.